Hello, everybody. I hope you're all doing well. So, I've created a Notion dashboard in lieu of the career fair as well as the upcoming internships and MT program. So, previously, I used to manage my job applications through a Google spreadsheet, but that wasn't very useful for me and it didn't have the functionalities or the format that I wanted, which is why for the past few days I've been working on Notion dashboard, and this is something that I've started using for my MT programs, and it has helped a lot to streamline the processes and to look at everything in one glance. So I'd like to share it with you, and this is just a video going through the Notion dashboard and explaining how I think it would be ideal to use it, and you could make your own customizations to it. So Notion is basically a productivity application such as Asana, such as Trello, but it is very powerful because of how much you can customize. So you can build templates from start, or you can edit the entire other people's templates to your own needs, right? So let's start. So basically, just for easy reference, I've added a section to embed your resume, your LinkedIn and portfolio, so you don't have to run around. Since this is connected to the internet, regardless of whatever device you're on, you'll be able to access all three of these things, which are most commonly what you need to share with people. Hence, this is there for easy access. Now, there are 5 elements to this dashboard. The first element is a master resume. Now, what I mean by that is, you must have heard the advice that every job application you're applying to, make sure that the resume is tailored to the job description itself. The issue with that is, at least personally, what I faced was I had multiple Word documents with different versions of my resume, and I did not have anywhere where I had consolidated all my experiences, my projects, my skills, so that I could pick and choose and then edit a Word document through that. So this basically acts as a master resume. You can add all of your experiences, your skills here, and then whenever you are editing or sending in a new resume, you can open the Word document side by side and then pick and choose whatever things you're going to add. So to go through that, this is basically a table of contents on the left side, and you can add by you can start by adding a short bio, and then you can add your contact information for easy access. You can add your education and your A levels, your O levels, whatever masters or PhDs that you've done. Then you can add your work experience. Now, whenever you're adding a new work experience, you're going to go here and you're going to click new work experience. This is going to automatically open up a new page, and what you can do is you can add your role here, you can add the company here, and later on I'll explain how this is all very connected and very streamlined. So there's an other company information database where you will be picking up these companies from. So for example, let's say my internship or my job role was in Oran, so I click here, and then you can add the starting date, the ending date, and then the location. Similarly, you can populate this area with the bullet points, outcome oriented bullet points that you're going to add. So to show you as an example, let me open this, and this is a very sample. This is for a sample person. So you can see that I've added all of these bullet points. So whenever you're done with an internship or whenever you're done with the role, just like open up this document and write whatever you did even during the internship itself, because generally we complete an internship or we complete a role and then we tend to forget the smaller details of what we learned, what tools did we use, and what results or outcome did we come across. So you can use this area to sort of record everything and document everything, so to make sure that whenever you need to send in a new resume, you're tailoring it and that you're including all the important details, right? That's all for the work experience section. Just let me remove this. You can add all of your skills here, so you can populate this as much as you want, and then like I mentioned, pick and choose and take things in to your Word document whenever you're tailoring your resume. You can add all of your extracurricular activities right here. You can also, so if for example you're a very social person and you have a lot of volunteer experiences, you can divide this as well, add headings, and then similarly, like I've done for skills, you could do the same for extracurriculars, and then depending on whatever the company values most, you can add that to your Word document. Similarly for projects, this is a database, so it's very similar to the experience database. Now over here again, I've added a few bullet points to show what I did. Then you can add your title, the project's title, again the company. If there was a company, you can add a company that it was associated with. You can add the course that this project was for, what field it relates to, and then an instructor and the year, just for your own reference. So what you can also do is, for the fields, you can just go into the fields and then filter them, or basically whenever you're applying for a certain role. So for example, I'm applying for a role where I need to be a paid ads expert, so I can filter it by paid ads and then find out whatever projects I did in the paid ads field and then include that. So once you have built up a lot of projects, it'll be difficult to manually go in and search, which is why the field option is there. Lastly, you have the certifications option. You can add the certifications here. Again, you can customize it as you want. You can add links to it. You could add your credential ID, that is the unique ID that is given to you. This is all for the master document. Now going on to the job interview. Now this is something that is very valuable. So right here you can see that this dashboard basically contains different sample questions that are asked in interviews, and I've collected this from a variety of sources, spoken to a few different people, and then I've come up with sample answers as a fresh graduate or as a student for those questions. So let's go for an example. So this example says, can you give us an example of how you've contributed to creating a positive company culture? So this is the sample answer, and then you can use this space to sort of come up with an answer for yourself. So when you are in a general format, if you're preparing for your internship interviews, you can prepare general questions, general answers basically to these questions. Or for example, if you're preparing for a specific company's interview, you can prepare very targeted answers. So you can look at their job description, you can look at all the research about the company that you have, and also your master resume, and based on that you can come up with answers, and this will be a really good prep. So I've included professional questions, behavioral questions about their company and about different fields, for example data, finance, HR, marketing and sales, and all of these have a sample answer with them. But again, the sample answer is just there to make sure and to guide you through the process of creating your own answers, right? So this is basically the second database. Now the third database, which is very useful for the career fair and otherwise as well, is the networking tracker. Now what the networking tracker does is generally we are not very good at remembering how to follow up with people. So the real point in the career fair is definitely going to different stalls and talking to them, and sharing what value you can bring to their company. But apart from that, what really helps is going home and then finding them on LinkedIn, using their cards, their emails that they shared, and then sending them a message to sort of carry forward that connection that you've built in the career fair. So what you can do is, when you're in the career fair, right, when you're talking to somebody, just open up a new document, write their name, write their contact methods. So for example, if they've shared their card, their email, if not, then you can come home and afterwards look for their LinkedIn. You can look at their status, then last contact date. You can add their emails, their roles, the company that they belong to, and this networking template will basically help in doing the research. So for example, once you come home, you can conduct research on their LinkedIn. You can see what their company is currently doing, and then you can come up with a script and send them a message, and this will help you build connections and make sure that you maintain those connections and that you're able to follow up, right? So let me just delete this. And this is going to be super useful for the career fair, because that is one one event that you really get to network with a lot of people rather than reaching out to them coldly on LinkedIn, because they're there for you and they're there to speak to you and build connections with you, right? So this is basically the third part of the dashboard. Now the main part of the dashboard is basically this opportunities board, and what this does is basically tracks all the job applications, the MT programs and the internship programs that you're applying to, right? So these are some of the very few programs that have been launched. This is not a holistic list, and this is also not accurate, so please do not use these application dates, because I've added them just as a sample. So for example, this is a Reckitt's graduate program, and you can see that you can add the company, and I will show how this company is linked on. You can add the link to it. You can also add the status, and accordingly you can look at where you are in the process. You can insert the type of employment, the department, the mode, the location. Then again, you have a few dates that are very important. So you have the application deadline, and something that gets very overwhelming at the end is remembering when every application deadline is. So what you could do is, whenever you're setting the application deadline, right here you can go to remind, and then you can say 1 day before. So what this will do is basically send you a Notion reminder 1 day before the application deadline to say that the application for Reckitt is expiring next day, and make sure that you're filling out your form, right? So this is a really cool feature to make sure that all of your applications are on track and that you're submitting everything on time. Now you can write the applied date, the last update. So for example, once most companies have a very lengthy process where you have a test, and then you have an interview, and then a final interview, maybe a case study as well. So you can look at the last update to see what companies are up to date, you're up to date with, or what companies have ghosted you, or what companies haven't replied, right? Now you can add a tailored resume here. This helps in lateral positions or even in MT programs where you tailor your resume, but then once it's time for the interview, you don't really remember what you put into your resume, especially if it was an online link you were submitting rather than applying through email. And this basically helps you go back and look at the resume that the company has received, and then prepare for your interview accordingly. Now similarly, this is the note section. You can add anything that you don't think there's a field for and that you think is important to remember. Now this is something that is super powerful, and very I would definitely recommend that you spend time on this space to make sure that each application that you're sending in is well thought out. So the first thing is pasting the job description here, or pasting a picture of it, or copy pasting it, because most job descriptions are removed once it's time for the interview and you don't really remember what were the responsibilities. So this is going to help you tailor your resume, where you can highlight the keywords that are mentioned in the job description and then include them in your resume, as well as it will build speaking points for you in your interview. So you will understand what perspective is the interview judging you from. So what are the responsibilities that you need to have, and you make sure that you're covering all of that in your resume as well as your interview, right? Now the second thing is research on the culture. So the way that you can research on the culture is you can basically speak to previous employees. You can look at the networking dashboard to see if you have any employees in the company that you've networked with, and you can also generally see just reviews on Facebook groups, or speak to people around you to understand how the culture is of the company. And then this is the interview part. So you can use this part to basically come up with specific questions for the company. You can also, this is so basically a link to the job interview, right? So you can go here and then prepare for different questions that could come. Right, so this is basically all on the opportunities board, right? So over here you can actually look at the process, and you can see what companies you're still in process with for the offer. You can look at the companies that you're waiting an offer from, companies that you've received an offer from. You can also look at application deadlines. So you can see right here that Reckitt expires on 22nd, HBL's deadline is 28th, and this will help you sort of see what deadlines are upcoming. Similarly, for interview dates as well, you have this where, so for example, I don't think I've added any interview yet, but you can basically track the application deadlines as well as the interview dates, right? Now the last thing about this dashboard, and I would say the most powerful thing that connects all of these different trackers and dashboards together, is the company information dashboard. Now I've included almost, you can see the count here says 87. I've included almost 87 famous companies from the career fair list, as well as separately from the emails that CDC shares. So every company has the following particulars, so you can add their websites, their career pages. Now these are how this is connected. So job postings, remember in the opportunities dashboard you had a company's field. This is basically going to be linked here. So if I were to show you Reckitt, you can see that it shows Reckitt graduate trainee program. Similarly, you'll be able to see all the job postings that were there that you applied for or didn't, or just added them to your dashboard here. Right now, let's go back to PNG. Right, so you can see work experience. This is going to be connected to your master resume. Projects, which is also going to be connected to your master resume. And then contact person, which is going to be connected to your networking tracker. So if you're building up an idea, if you understand what's going on here, you can see how powerful this dashboard is going to be. And then you can add notes, and this is just classification of the industry that the company operates in. Now this is the most absolutely powerful thing that I've created. This is basically a research checklist, and it basically goes over all the things that you need to research for before you're applying for the company, and especially before you're interviewing with the company. So it has a very extensive, very holistic list that you can check off to ensure that you've done all of your research. So this is basically a sample, and this is accurate information. So this is also a template. So let me show you actually how the template looks without it being filled in. So if I were to create a new company, a field for a new company, this is how it's going to look like. So you're going to add what does your business do, just a few lines about what it does, their Instagram, their social media, and all the other links, their missions and values, their brands or the products or the services that they offer, the target audience, and then your ads in the marketing effort, especially if you're from the marketing domain, any financial information that they have available online, and the current news and trends in the industry. I believe this is enough information for you to go over before an interview and to fill it in. And once you go deeper into this database, and once you start filling in more information, you will realize how powerful resource that you're building. So I'll show you what I've done for Unilever and for a few other companies as well. So when you're going to get this dashboard, you're going to get information on some of the top FMCGs and startups, as well as a few banks, and you will be able to use that information, especially tomorrow in the career fair, to ensure that you have talking points with the company and that you're able to speak to them. So for Unilever, you can see what does the business do. I've added a few points about that. You can see the social media links it has, the mission and values, and I've added pictures as well, the brands and the products that it has, and then their YouTube or their Facebook links to understand the sort of advertising and the marketing that they do, the target audience, and the ads and marketing efforts, as well as the financial information, and right here the trends in the industry. So this is basically a super powerful dashboard that I've created, and I would love if you could go ahead, check out the Gumroad page that I have set up, and I'm selling this at a very discounted price, since this took me a lot of time and a lot of effort to build. And I would love for you to show your support, share your feedback, and let me know if there's anything else I can add to it, anything different that I could do, or any other templates that I can create that would be helpful for you later on. All right, thank you.